Hello and welcome to Reality TV News Update, where you'll find the most recent news, entertaining moments, and exclusive behind-the-scenes content. The season 27 runner-up also reveals where he and girlfriend Kelsey currently stand after his time in the house. It's been almost a month since the finale of Big Brother 27, and after going under the radar for the better part of a few weeks, runner-up Vince Panaro has finally opened up about the status of his relationship with his girlfriend of 7 years, Kelsey. The 34-year-old recently released a video on his YouTube channel titled Post Big Brother 27 Thoughts. He addressed a number of the most important remarks that fans made about him during and after his 83 days on the popular CBS reality show. "I think coming out of the house, I just wanted to prioritize talking to Kelsey," he initially explains. "I wanted to prioritize getting my head on straight and decompressing and processing everything that I just experienced for the past 3+ months before anything else." Panaro then goes on to talk about whether the way he behaved in the house was a reflection of him as a person. He talks specifically about his intense emotional reactions during the season, which culminated in a meltdown following a crucial misinterpretation of instructions in the final Head of Household competition, Part 2. "Even if people wanted to root for me, they couldn't, because they viewed me as somebody throwing a pity party, or I was crying too much, or I started to lie too much, or I was emotionally cheating." He continues, "I became the person that people love to hate. It's just a crazy environment and a crazy social experiment, and everybody responds and reacts in different ways. And I obviously had a unique way of reacting to that environment." And it's the mention of emotional cheating that gets into perhaps one of the most widely talked about parts of Vince's game, his relationship with Morgan Pope. They began the game as close allies, but during the second half of the game, they became even closer. They began to embrace each other for long stretches as their physical intimacy increased. Even though there was a pillow wall between them, the two of them slept together in the HO room for the better part of 2 weeks. Things culminated in a cutting remark from Zingbart, who asked Pope, "What do you call someone who lights up when Vince enters the room, gives him long, passionate hugs and warm, affectionate cuddles?" "His love interest." Lines started to blur, and I felt like any level of affection was normal in that alternate reality I was living in, Panaro admits. And some people will say, "How could you be that stupid? How could you not see it?" I could only respond with, "Well, you'd be surprised." Can I see how that would be disrespectful to having a girlfriend in hindsight? Yes, 100%. And I'm sorry for that. And to be honest, that's on me. I established the boundaries. I was the one who was dating someone else. I was the one who said, "This is normal," and it helped me mentally in that house. But outside, I could see that's not being respectful to having a girlfriend, and I should have been extra cautious. But the fact of the matter is, I wasn't. When Parade spoke to Panaro a few hours after leaving the house on finale night, he seemed confident that his relationship with Kelsey would be fine, despite the comments both in and out of the house of his dynamic with Morgan. "It's a unique environment, and nobody knows the platonic relationship between Morgan and I outside of us two. Nobody knows the relationship romantically between my girlfriend and I outside of the game. But I know my girlfriend, and I know the boundaries we set before I entered the house, and I lived a Big Brother dream. Yeah, not too worried about any of that stuff." Of course, Panaro had no idea the comments Kelsey had made on social media in response to some of his behavior in the house. At one point, he spoke in the house that prior to the season, he and Kelsey had discussed that he would be able to flirt with the other house guests if it meant furthering his game. However, Kelsey then wrote in a comment on Instagram, "I never gave an okay to flirt as a strategy. We talked extensively about boundaries before he left." And Panaro closes out the video by talking through where he and Kelsey stand now. "Kelsey and I have talked everything out, and we're currently taking time to process everything individually and figure out what things look like after that. But something that I appreciate about her is that she had the respect for me to be the first person that I see when I leave finale night, and to stick around and have those conversations with me. She could have left and could have never spoken to me again and thought that whatever her perspective was the end of the line for me. She was there first above everything else to make sure that I was okay mentally coming out of there, knowing the backlash that I was going to be receiving. But at the same time, she has enough respect for herself to take her own independent time and figure out what she wants and to process her own experience individually. And I respect that too. The fact of the matter is, I was in a relationship entering that house. However, the reason anyone reacted to me was because I accepted it and established boundaries for what was acceptable and unacceptable in my relationship. So that's all on me, and I understand the way that it looked. After weeks of silence and mounting speculation, Big Brother Season 27 finalist Vince Panaro is finally speaking out about the controversy that's followed him since leaving the house. Allegations of emotional cheating during his time on the show. The 28-year-old fan favorite who placed third in the latest season became the center of drama after viewers noticed his close bond with fellow house guest Morgan Pope, despite Vince being in a relationship with his longtime girlfriend Kelsey outside the game. Although the two never physically met, Morgan's fans accused Vince of having an emotional affair, which sparked heated debate on social media. Now, in an exclusive postseason interview, Vince is setting the record straight. He admits, "I understand why people saw what they saw. Morgan and I connected on a deep level in that house. When you're in there for months, cut off from the world, emotions get intense. However, I never intended to disrespect Kelsey and never crossed a line from which I could not return." Vince insists that Morgan and his relationship were based on friendship and strategy rather than romance. He says, "We talked about life, about the game, about how we were both trying to keep our head straight. People forget that you're isolated in there. Sometimes you cling to whoever makes you feel grounded. That's what Morgan was for me." Still, Vince acknowledges that Kelsey's feelings were valid. He explains, "When I came out and saw the clips, I understood why she was hurt. Even if I didn't do anything physical, emotional connections can be just as painful. I've learned that communication and boundaries matter, especially in that kind of environment." Vince revealed that he and Kelsey took time apart to reflect on their relationship. He shares, "We didn't talk for a couple of weeks after the show ended. It was tough, but it gave us space to process everything. We're working through it now, one day at a time." Vince claims that there's no animosity between them, as well as no ongoing connection. He says, "We haven't really talked since finale night. I think we both needed to step back and let things cool off. I respect her a lot, and I wish her nothing but the best." Despite the scandal, Vince remains optimistic about how he's handled the aftermath. He admits, "I made mistakes, but I'm human. The experience taught me a lot about myself, how I handle pressure, how I value the people I love, and how I want to move forward." While some fans remain divided, others have applauded Vince for taking accountability and addressing the issue head-on. He admits, "It's been humbling. You don't realize how your actions affect others until the cameras stop rolling. All I can do now is own it, learn from it, and keep growing." With the dust beginning to settle, Vince Panaro is ready to turn the page, not as a Big Brother house guest, but as someone determined to rebuild his reputation and relationship beyond the game.